Okay. Obviously, we had a good game today, and our players were really focused and did a nice job in preparation. And as a coach, that's so gratifying to see guys get ready to play a game and prepare and execute. Obviously, we were very explosive on offense. Defensively, we stopped the run. Pitt wants to run the ball and control the clock. We stopped the run. In the first half, we were poor at times tackling. We missed 3 or 4 guys on tackles, and it cost us a couple touchdowns. But they rallied and tackled better in the second half. We lost our focus there a little bit in the middle of the second quarter, and then certainly at the end we had a poor snap on a punt. But other than that, it was a good win for us, and we got a long ways to go. We got a lot of work ahead of us, but I was proud of our team today.
It looked like Mason, his ability to scramble or bounce off tacklers was more than what we'd seen today, and that provided some big plays.
He's worked hard in the off season on a couple things: his footwork on a different style of throws, and then also his ability to protect the ball and move around the pocket. And he made some big plays today at crucial times. And you see the importance of having a quarterback that can make plays. I mean, he made a lot of plays. He got out of his box one time, and when he did, he threw an interception. He did not progress appropriately, and it cost him. He made his mind up prior to the snap based on coverage. They rolled coverage. He didn't stay in his world and threw an interception. So it's an example of what happens when you just don't follow the system that we have in place. But other than that, obviously he was really good. Most of those guys were on offense. I don't know that we had any drops today. I don't think we did. So it was good.
Did you feel like maybe this was as explosive and efficient as
Youngstown State.
explosive and as efficient as you've been in any game away from home since maybe that Lubbock game 6 years ago?
I told the team that they were really good in all 3 phases to start. When I looked down at the Youngstown, it scared me a little bit. Thought maybe I was waking up from a dream. I'm getting old, and I was like, wow, did we lose? So, yes, and guys played good, and they were focused, and they started fast. We made key third downs, and they played good. I would agree.
Mike, you're the first offense in 12 years to have 4 receivers go for more than 100 yards in a game. Can you speak to the depth of that group, especially considering you didn't have Tyron here, and then also just any comment on his situation going forward?
We had a few players this week that lost focus and got out of our world and in our culture, and so when that happens, they can't be with us and play games. And when we get back on Sunday, tomorrow, they'll be with us. But they're healthy, and they didn't violate any rules outside of the team. Okay, so you don't need to go search for any of that. It was inside stuff. But as I said earlier, Mason's done a nice job of spreading the ball around. And when we have good skill guys, he's responsible for delegating the ball to the people based on what they give us. And he did a good job with that, with the exception of one time. And it cost him an interception. And that's why we can spread it out and get multiple guys catches. We saw some heavy roll and play towards James Washington, and when that happens, you have McCleskey in the middle of the field most of the time.
So Tyron will be back for TCU?
He'll be back tomorrow, yes.
Anybody else who was missing, they'll be back? Or
Madre Harper's not on the team anymore. Brendan Vaughn's not on the team anymore. And 13, that's it, right? Yeah. So guys stepped out of our culture a little bit, and so unfortunately I have to make tough decisions. But 13 will be back with us, and we'll play the guys that we have in here.
How do you think your linebackers, makeshift linebackers, held up today?
I thought they did pretty good. There was times, Barry, when you're on the headphones, and every time the other team makes a play, you hear everybody complaining about this and that, and I would have to watch the tape, but I thought that they were in proximity and tackled fairly well. The 2 plays that we really didn't play well on the one bubble, corner, safety, and then down on the touchdown, 7 got his head down and missed a play, missed tackle loaded 94. But for the most part, I thought the linebackers played fairly well. And they were somewhat limited this week, not only in practice, but obviously out here, Bundage You know, he had to watch the game from the locker room. I think he was watching the game. Somebody said he actually flipped it over to SpongeBob and started second quarter. So I need to check on that. But knowing Bundy, there's a chance he could have done that. Anyway, I thought they played pretty well.
Mike, did they approach you schematically in the secondary different than they did last year, or was it pretty much a lot of the same looks?
Oh, it's the same stuff. Same defense. You talking about
Or did get Pitt?
Pitt schemes?
Yeah.
It's the same stuff, yeah. A little more crossfire blitz than what we thought they would that they would bring to the table. But for the most part, their structure was the same.
Did you anticipate adjustments, considering when you guys Mason had a big day against them last year?
I'll be honest, and I mean this as humble as possible. I have no clue what people are going to do. And I use the term, we got to stay in our world. That's why we got to stay in our world, because sometimes we get things that we don't expect, like last week. I would have never guessed they would have played us that way. Today, I would have never guessed they'd have played the same as I thought they would play a little more high safety. But one thing I mentioned to the media, I don't know who asked me on at the press conference this last week. It's difficult to change who you are in 2 days. Just like with us. I mean, we're going to run our plays and we're going to do what we do, and hopefully we're more sound and we minimize mistakes. I've not ever coached or been around a team that could say I'm going to change my philosophy or scheme in 2 days. So I don't think that's really possible. And we saw a few different things pressure-wise, but the structure was the same.
You know, Pittsburgh's only a few games removed from beating Clemson. They still got a lot of guys who were part of that. Were you a little nervous coming in here?
I'm nervous every game. That's why I'm underweight and not in good shape, because I'm nervous. Coaches make you nervous. But anytime you leave home, you're always a little concerned. You hope that your system, the things that you do, put you in a place to be successful, but you never know. You guys watch a million games. You know, you have a couple turnovers, they hit a big run, a tip pass, and they score, and then you're in a dogfight. If you're away from home, a lot of times if you're at home, you can make up for that quick. But it's more difficult, you know. We played really good. I thought that the Indians would win last night, and more so than us being able to play this well this early in the season on the road.
But, I mean, you know, Pittsburgh came out of the tunnel thinking they were going to win, right?
Sure.
And then you go 9 for 9 on third down. So.
Yeah, he's pretty good, you know, what he does when he stays in his world.
Steiner's Heisman campaign apparently went off the rails.
Yeah, and that was a pretty bad-looking play. One, the snap was high. I'm not sure it was so high he couldn't get it, but
Very high.
yeah, he probably could have got the ball, but you know, he looked like a little kid where somebody was holding a fishing pole with a treat, you know, and they jump, and you're like, is that as high as you can jump? He had a little bit of this in him. And then when he turned to run to kick it, he looked back twice. And so that's why he missed it. I said, you don't have to look back. They're coming. I promise you. You don't have to check on them. They're going to show up. And that's why he missed the ball. But he did, you know, he said, Coach, my fault. But he said, the reason I was looking is because they were in hold-up the last 2 times. And he said, if they weren't coming, I was going to pick it up and kick it, punt it. And I said, okay, I'm sorry. That was a pretty smart decision on your part. But I need you to make sure that you kick it out of the end zone. But what Signer, myself, and Hauser decided to do is we need to have a drill for that, where you roll the ball in the end zone and the punter needs to start here and run and he needs to kick it out. We need to do that 8, 10, 12 times a week. We never practice that, and I started thinking we probably should practice that because we need to cover our bases there, and so we'll start working on that drill. Now you say, well, why would you practice that? It should never happen, but obviously it did.
Did you get any kind of definitive or favorable report on Crabtree?
I think he'll be fine, yeah. We had a decent lead there. He had where you sprain your big toe, you know, it gets sore. Yeah, in the 80s when we were tough, they would have injected him and put him back out there.
What about Lacey?
I think he'll be fine. Yeah, I mean, he had a slight, you know, when you get I don't know what it's called. It's not a AC separation or I don't know, something like that. But he should be fine.
For next week. The Big 12's had a pretty good non-conference so far, and we'll see what happens later today. do you feel about this team going into Big 12 play in a conference that'd probably be pretty tough?
Well, the league is tough. I mean, TCU's playing well. And, obviously, I'm just looking at scores. I haven't seen any of West Virginia. They've scored a bunch of points and look like they're playing well. OU obviously is playing well. Kansas State looks like they're playing well. I haven't seen a snap of them. I don't know who else. There's going to be some guys in this league that are pretty good. So, and we all know each other. You know, Coach Patterson knows us like the back of his hand, and we know them. And, you know, there's a lot of comparisons and scenarios that have already played itself out over the last few years.
Since you brought Coach Mike Yursich from Pennsylvania, since he had a ton of family here, was it your sense that this was kind of a personally significant game for him today?
I'm guessing he had a lot of family here. I didn't visit with him about it. Mike is a taskmaster. You know, he very seldom gets his head off and his eyes off track for what he's doing, you know. I brought him here to hide him for a few years, and it ended up being a good decision. I don't know that I'll be able to hide him much longer. He's pretty dang good at what he does. And I'm sure that he had a lot of family here, but Mike doesn't lose focus very often. He's tuned in pretty good.
But when he was at Shippensburg and when he had a veteran quarterback, a playmaker in the backfield, and a healthy offensive line, he had numbers just like you're having now. So, I mean, obviously that's what cut you. And you thought he could do the same when he had the same weapons.
Mike is as good as anybody that I've had. I mean, Mike is really good. I mean, I know a lot of people might debate that or whatever. I have no reason to tell you anything other than he's really good. He deserves everything he gets. He's a hard worker. He's loyal. You know, dealing with me on offense is not fun. You know, and I'm wrong a lot, and he just says yes, sir, and goes on down the road and then does what he wants to do a little bit later. But he's a smart guy, and he's a good coach.
Well, there was a point in the game today, somebody in the press box said, Mike Yursich is fixing to be a head coach. So you're kind of...
I mean, I got him for 4 years, right? 5 years, so that's pretty good. But I cannot say that he's not a good candidate for somebody.
I think he's on Dana and Todd Monken's level as a
sure.
teacher and a play caller.
I do.
I'm just curious, does anything Mason, anything he does on the field, does anything surprise you at all? Like that throw to Aitman in the first quarter? And I guess when did you decide that you wanted to pull him out of the game?
Well, if you watch us all the time, like Barry said, he was more maneuverable today than he has been in a while. And he was really that way a few games ago. He held the ball too long, caused us a turnover. But he's worked hard, and he's developed his upper body strength. So that has improved from a year ago. He's playing good. And the best way to illustrate it would be that if he just stays in his world and runs the offense that we have and distribute the ball properly, then he's going to do fine. And he's going to be, Mason is a workaholic. Mason is he prides himself on being the Peyton Manning, the Tom Brady of college football. That's what he prides himself on. And he backs it up. And so most people that are that committed, that have some skill, are going to be successful. So it doesn't surprise me some of the plays he makes. His leadership and his ability to be humble has been awesome.
Mike, the 7-drive and 7-touchdown performance of the first half really started generating a lot of buzz for Mason about the Heisman and things like that. How are you going to keep him focused going into Big 12, and what do you think of that?
Well, he has to do it himself. He has to stay in his world and tune the outside out. We talk about this a lot. The world we live in with social media and coverage and highlights and such, he has to decide he's going to do it, because I can't shelter him from, nor can I shelter anybody else in there. So he has to understand the importance of TCU. And I'm only as good as my next game. You know, they'll name that street after you one day, and a couple days later they'll run you right down it. And he has to think that way and function in that world. I think he'll be fine. There's a lot of good players out there. You know, guy at Louisville's a heck of a player. Obviously, the guy at UCLA, guy at OU is a heck of a player. There's a whole bunch of them out there that are making plays. I like our guy. I like where he's at. I like what he does for Oklahoma State football.